I looked at the clock wrong. Doc here from North America. I thought it was 29 after, not 32. Hey, Doc here from North America. Interesting times. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Seems like we are seeing the starvation of yield, and that's what's going on there. But at the same time, we're seeing the dollar, moving down, which was interesting. You can see here is the Swiss. It's still moving down. So you here on J4X. Is it on J4? No. Let's fix it on the J4X. Right there. Moving down. So the dollar's moving down, and the starvation and we're seeing interest rates actually moving down, not up again, which is the really surprise there. We're seeing the junk bond market really start to move. The yield, the starvation of yield, be it from insurance corporations that need X amount of yield to satisfy the clientele. There's the contracts they've written to. I guess you just keep on going all around. The same thing is in many other areas. Mutual funds need a certain amount of yield. And so interest rates have stopped rising. We're seeing just pure starvation or just desperation. And we're seeing the junk bond market really, really pick up. In other words, yields are dropping in the junk bond market. Hopefully they can put binaries or options on, that's for sure. All right, let's take a look at this now. What else? Oh, let me tune in. I'm not seeing any questions because I'm not tuned in. I'm doing a physics thing at the same time. Sorry about that. I got lost in a photon conversation from South Africa. Let's see. Okay, let's get moving over to. Let's stop that. And let's go to there. Let's see if anybody is asking a question, and I got lost on a physics question. Let's see. Where are you? There it is. And click there. And yes, we have 7 people in the house, and we have some questions. 47 says, Canadian to you too. And Middle Ages here also. Let's see, I sold the rest of my calls in the April live cattle when it crossed to 125. Still bullish going forward, though. I hear you. I had a question for you, too, about something, but I forget what it was now. I was thinking about that yesterday. Oh, let me kill this this ad, too. It's making noise there. Okay. Let's go first with 47 and the Canadian. We found that kind of interesting. Let's look at the fact check Excel spreadsheet. Let's just take a look at that real quick on line 20. So we're 1 week in a buy, but we're 6 days in a sell. Yeah, I thought I scratched my head on that one too, but that's the way it rolls sometimes. And there it is there. You can see it's been in the sell from here, and it's rolling down. And now, what is that? Let's widen this a little bit here for 47 and for us to observe. And what you can see there is it is piercing. The black histogram is minus. The white line is minus. It's trying to go back into the cell. So we're going to do this too. Put a cute little circly thing there. Notice it's set for the other chart because it's got the dark center. And we'll go pink. And then we'll go like this on it. There we are. And that's what's going on there. You can see the thing is starting to go minus again. Wow, I don't know. The oil is moving up. NASCAD's moving up. Interest rates are dropping. We saw 3 and 4 weeks ago where they were really starting to take off. Everybody was really becoming concerned. And the next thing you know is junk bonds are being bought up, not sold. So, and now I'm hearing 18 trillion in 0 to minus yield in the bond market. 18 trillion. We've moved up from 15 and a half since last summer. As I take a sip of my coffee, that is a big number. That is a big, big number, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. And so we know a few things. We know some mechanical things that have to be satisfied, I guess you could say. And one of them is that insurance companies have to have a certain amount of yield. They'll also be willing to lose 2 or 3% of their assets to get that yield. So. That is part of it. And then the other side of the ball is basically there are fund managers that are probably saying to themselves, we can't do this much longer. Especially, we talked about it on Monday. Chain smoking Jimmy is got his tit in a ringer. The private medallion fund that they have yielded about 76% in return, and their two public funds that they offer that are supposedly identical yielded a loss of around 35%. And there's a lot of talk there about they're just been front running and now they gotten caught at it. It's hard to believe, but I guess that can happen. Hard to say. All right. I can tell you this. He became head of the physics department at Stony Brook for a specific reason, and it wasn't because of the love of physics. I can tell you that. It was because of the computers. And we've had this conversation before, and I'm not going to drift too deep into the science side of it, but the Renaissance fund, medallion, their top medallion fund. Jim Simon took over the physics department as a math professor, which is not the oddest thing in the world, but it is odd, especially as prestigious a department it is. But what I know about Stony Brook's physics department is they had the other mainframe from the Manhattan Project that the physicists there at the time were using it to chase after the New York Stock Exchange stocks. So in the 1940s, and I'll leave this conversation in a few seconds, I just want to finish that off with these funds reaching for low quality yields. So the Manhattan Project was out in New Mexico. They sent their data to Stony Brook to the secret mainframe there. The scientists got up at 7 in the morning in Stony Brook in Long Island. They had nothing better to do. They would aim that computer at the New York Stock Exchange to see if they could figure out ways of making money. Now, you imagine that's 4 in the morning in New Mexico, so the scientists were still relatively asleep. So Oppenheimer didn't send that the data that needed to be crunched by the computer until like around 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, 12, the latest. They got caught too. Oppenheimer caught them using the machine, and obviously Jim Simon knew that. So when the Stony Brook physics department collapsed, basically back in the late, or I guess you could say the early 60s, he took over the department, figuring he could get his hands on that computer and all the programs that they had written 15 years earlier. Think of it. It's 1960 something, early 60s. There's not many computers out there. Univac, a Sperry RAM thing. There's a couple of computers. RCA's dumping their computers altogether. Radio Corporation of America, and so this all plays into the little Machiavellian plot. I hope it doesn't sound too crazy, but I just thought I'd get that out. All right, so let's go over and take a look at the cattle at middle age real quick. And that is the story there. And I knew one of the physicists. That's why I know the story. He was the second signers. Remember, there were two different groups of signers about not using the atomic bomb. He was part of the second group that signed their names to it after Hiroshima. They were like, oh, shit, man, we can't drop this on people. This is crazy. All right. Let's see. Let's go to cattle. What do we got there? That looks like cattle. No, that's feeders. So there's cattle in April. I saw that pop yesterday. And I think at one point it had a red dot even in there. But it's still not minus, but it's a smart move to take profits, that's for sure. Especially with that height up there. I wonder what the back month is doing. This is April. Now let's look at April in 22, I guess it is. April in 22. Right there. And that's trading at 26. Okay, so it's carrying a nice premium. So at least there's a good contango to it. So brilliant move there, middle age, as usual. You trade those options for 25 years, you know what to do. Middle age, if people are listening, middle age trades binaries and options and so forth. He's on the option side of the universe, and he does it in the commodities. So, smart move. Take some profits, without a doubt. Now, let's take a look at, go back to the currencies. Let's take a look at the euro. The euro, I'm sure, is heading down, just like the way or in this case, the euro will be going up in value. See, a little sloppiness there, but up. But I'm curious. The weekly, here we are going on to Happy to Hump Day, Wednesday, and we're still not even getting close to turning up. So this might start to curve and then go into a channel in here and go like that. That would not surprise me any. That would be about the norm. I would think it'd be just a channel developing here, and they don't take out. I don't think they take out these bottoms over here. In other words, I don't think they get too higher than the 22s. You know, they probably die out like 121.90 or something like that. You know, that type of thing. We'll see. We have to see change in the weekly. Now let's take a look at cable. Cable has broken the 38s. We're finally getting through that area there. It's taking a lot of work and effort to get the cable through the 38s, but you know, we keep on thinking that it wants to land between the 38 and 42 area. So they may start to build a base in here, and even with the interest rates, which I thought were going to be moving up a little bit more in the United States, especially the 30-year. That's the one I think we need to really watch. The 30-year bond, not the 10-year bond. Let's just jump over to that real quick. Right there. There we go. That's the last thing. Oh, it's up there already. That's I was looking at that. I've been looking at that a lot. Let's put that in there. I don't see the whatever it is right there. 30-year. Okay. Change the color to yellow or something like that. Gold. There we are. Yeah, 30 years got my eye. You can see it's flirting, trying to get into a buy. Boy, it got really close there yesterday. Today it's dropping down again, and you can see we're on our second week of the sell. You can see that's, you know, it's been, we're seeing some of the highest interest rates we've seen in 6 months there. You know, so let's see if Dukascopy has that on their J4X, a bond. I know that, I think they have the 10-year. Let's see what that looks like too. I don't know if they have the 30-year. 30-year. When I was young, 30-year was the #1 bond. Everybody traded the 30-year bond. And then the 10-year, you know, became more predominant because of the drop in interest rates. No, I don't see that there. Let's see, what is that? There we go. Here we go. Here's a bond right there. There's a 10-year. That's probably a 10-year. What's that? That's yield. No, that could be 30-year. Look at that. It's yielding 6.6617. So that could be it right there. That could be the 30-year. That used to be, I'm telling you, the 30-year was, you know, very active. We also have something called a euro dollar. That's why they don't call the euro dollar the euro dollar. They call it the euro unit. It is trapped American dollars in Europe, and it's the largest futures contract traded. It's traded at the Chicago Mercer, now the CME Group. And then what happened was the 30-year used to be traded at the Board of Trade, which is now part of the CME Group. But the 30-year was the real action. And I think there's going to be more action in the 30-year just because of its high yield. We'll see. But that is interesting to see how they, you know, you can see, let's see how far back this thing does go. Dukascopy could really show us some good history here. There's the weekly. Ah, interesting. Very interesting. Heading for, what is that? That is 2019. Is that 2019? Yeah, first quarter of 2019 right there. It's like the first quarter of 2020. So we could be coming back down into this area here. Wouldn't surprise me any. I kind of think that they want to, let's put it this way, they're playing with this top now. It could get trapped inside the middle of this range for a while. And let's see, what do they show on the monthly? Not much. Okay. So yeah, that's where my eyes are, traders. I'm not sure how that will exactly play, but I would have thunk no more than 2 weeks ago when I come on saying strong dollar, I would think that the dollar pairs, the dollar side of it would become stronger. All right, let's jump back to, not do a monthly, just go back to a daily. Where's the daily at? There it is right there. And let's take a look at cable at the same time here. And we are thinking And I'll show you what we're thinking. That's why we think of the 32 to 38 to 42 area, and that is that we and let's make it into a weekly again. There we are. Yeah, we're figuring that it takes out these tops. Or I guess there it is right there. That one right there, it goes and challenges the bottom of that. That's the 39-ish area, 38. And so I figured that they want to play that 38 and they start to support this. I think that they're going to play in this range between there and there. Those two spots right there. I think that's what they want to do. And then, think about it in many ways. We're back to really the beginning of Brexit, before Brexit occurred. And that's exactly what's floating through my head, is that we're going to slowly make our way back where Brexit almost like it didn't exist. In other words, they're independent and not having a problem. Hey, Robin, how you doing? How you feeling today? Robin took the C19 antidote, or I guess the first shot last week, and I think he's starting to smooth out now. And then I'll be taking another one, I guess, in a couple more weeks or a month or something like that. So, or 2 months, I don't know how that works. And hope you're feeling better today. All right, let's jump over to, we did the Canadian. We can take a quick look again with Canadian. Oh, no, we go to Turkish Lira. Let's do Turkish Lira, then we drift over to Canadian again, for those that haven't seen the Canadian. And let's put it up on the Chicago Quant at the same time. Turkish Lira is just, oh, look at that. A little life in it today, huh? How about that? A little bounce. I guess someone's got to take a profit, right? We don't see a lot of action in the weekly at all. So this has just got to be profit taking for a couple of days, something like that. Good to hear that. 22 days for the next shot. Is that how that works? Okay, cool. There we go. All right, and so there's the Turkish Lira. A little bounce, nothing major. We don't see any action in the weekly to scare us in any way. So it looks like, it'll maybe hesitate. Little profits being taken in the 7 area. Maybe they go up to 720 or 730 or something like that. Who knows? Right around in that area. We'll follow the math and see what happens and see if it actually lands in a daily buy today. All right, now let's head over to the Canadian. What else can we think about when we look at the Canadian? I mean, this is gaining value in the Turkish Lira. That's one of the things that always catches our eye. And the Canadian has a natural tendency to do the same thing. Let's put it over here. Right there. You can see it's moving down. Not challenging any of this, of course. But, this is sinking down, doing nice. And that shows strength in the Canadian. And with it, we normally see strength in the oil market. And so that's usually a tip-off of, looking for strength. In this case here, the oil market's been rocking. Let's just run over to the oil market real quick. And you can see right there in the energy market, moving up. When we go look at NASCAD, let's take a look at NASCAD real quick. There it is. That should be moving up also. Oh, we got a little down action today. I wonder if we're going to see some little corrective action in the oil market. I think they're doing synthetics in it, but that's me. With Canadian looking really strong and NAS looking weak, NASCAD looking weak, I would think that the oil would go sideways. So let's shoot back to oil, but it looks relatively strong there. I mean, it's not exploding or anything, but it does look relatively strong. And then when we go to J4X, right, where is it at? Right there. Same thing, nice and firm. It's definitely looking firm, that's for sure. And let's see, what else do we point out here? It looks fine. Oil markets are creeping and creeping and creeping up. And then we go back to the the actual, well, there it is. They're both the same in the Chicago quant side of it. So, I mean, our weekly looks very strong. Daily looks very, look at that. It's like a moonshot. And it's like up and away. It looks like a ski slope in reverse. So we are seeing some real buying in the oil sector. Interesting. Hey Stanley, how you doing? We're just looking through the neighborhood. We're just entering the looking at the oil sector and some of the currency pairs that match up to the oil sector. Now here's the tough part. Here's that. Where's it at? This is the natural gas. We have one visitor into the webinar here. One of the traders comes in and they're long this thing, and we said be tight stopped, and luckily it's the tight stop is probably all right still. It hasn't been touched, that gap or something like that. But maybe we'll get some daily buy going in that thing, because right now we can't get, there's no push up, just the weekly looking very firm, but no push up when it comes to the rest, the price action itself. It's been trapped with red dots, and when you get red dots like that, it's a real, usually it's a sign that something's going to occur, some type of wild action, because here you are very strong in the weekly, and it refuses to bend down, start to head towards the zero. And so, you just have to, we see these things happen. When it gets into a daily buy, it could be an explosive move all the way up to 325 or something like that. All right. And the last one we look at in the energy sector is that soybean oil. Hey, that's what I wanted to ask. Have you ever seen the soybean so strong and the cattle so strong, middle age? This strain, I know I asked you that yesterday too, but I mean, this is it's just weird, Now, a little weakness there. I just heard something. Who's doing? Is it there? So, I mean, we're seeing some of this action where, yesterday the soybean oil was making another high. Boy, did that chase you out the door on the cattle? That should have done it, I guess. When you see a pop like that, you just got to wonder. And you can see it curving today. And what's the cattle doing again? We'll go to the cattle. And the cattle trying to curve also. And that's not trading yet. And you can see the green line still hasn't busted the time manifold, but the histogram is at least underneath it. But there's some really strange action when it comes to the pairs trades, and then the way they line up against the commodities and back and forth. All right. Oh, and let me just save that this one here. There we are. Get that out of the way like that. So that's the look of the energy sector. But if anybody wants to see something in there, we can go dissect that a little bit more, like natural gas or oil or bean oil. That's no problem. We're just going to keep on drifting around, and we'll check out. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about too, Robin? The spread this morning is down to 310. No, not 310. 610. 610. I thought we were going to see 690 by the end of this week. It started the week off at 740 something. It's well beyond our area of happiness. We got joy there, that's for sure. So we were looking at the platinum. Where is it? Platinum gold spread. That's what we were looking at, and that's what we're talking about. There is gold. It's kind of quiet. Trying to lift a little bit. Got into the daily buy a couple days ago. These things keep on getting more data that screw them up, of course. And you can see we're in a deep. Look at this. The way the green line is getting buried. It looks like it's even further down. Let's shrink that just to see. But they're really burying the. No, not that. Darn. Let's go here. They're really burying the quantitative code. Look at that. Okay, it's flattened out. Interesting. They really buried that thing. When's the last time it was down that low? Okay, right there. For that low there. Interesting. Okay. So maybe they'll bottom it out. That caught my eye. And let's widen that again so everybody can see it better. So gold is just kind of hesitating but firm, I guess you could say, right? And then you drift over to platinum. As we drift over to platinum, right there. And platinum, let's give it a control R. And platinum is up big again. You know, this is the Yellen spread that we've talked about. Oh, Volnet, how you doing? Buongiorno. Gomazigano. Lulu. So you can see here the platinum. You know, we've gotten down to 610 now. See, where's that thing trading? It's trading right now. It's 1236, and let's just throw it up on Dukascopy. We'll throw spot gold up on there just to be able to see the two differences. Right there, and that's trading at 1238. It's at 602 now. Is that 602 almost? It's almost at 6 even now. 6 even. We thought by the end of this week we might see 690. We were coming from 750. This thing is accelerating. Doc ahead of the curve on this one again. We've really caught a really interesting trade there, Robin? And everybody, we've been posting this trade in, we talk about it here. We should talk about it live here all the time. We call it the Yellen trade. The Janet Yellen trade, and we've posted it on the web and other places, the whole bit. So it is something, because, and then we posted it, through our, from here we posted it too at the same time. If I can get that open again. How did I lose that? Did I close that? Okay. And so we posted it here at the same time. There it is right there. So we posted it there. We've posted it other places. And, this particular trade, we call it the Janet Yellen trade. And then I got crazy and I started combining Blinder, figuring who's going to be the next Fed chair. Remember, 2 years from now, there's a new Fed chair. And I would assume it's going to be Blinder. I can't imagine anybody else jumping in there. I mean, if Yellen hadn't been Fed chair, it would be Yellen. But she's already been Fed chair. So she more than likely will stay at Treasury. And Blinder will go over to, who was the vice chair at one time under Clinton, they tried to make him chair a couple of times, and the Republicans blocked it. Blinder is a wild socialist. He's like a cross between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So, so then I started thinking, I guess last week we started talking about it, putting Yellen and Blinder together. My God, this spread will be back to zero before you know it. And so it's accelerating now. We're down to $600. I bet the shorts in this spread now are just starting to cover. This is like the GameStop vigilante thing, So that's where we're at with this particular spread here. We've been talking about it. Be long platinum and be short gold. And it's been a rock and roll victory. We've seen it drop $400 now, or made $400 per spread in the last 6-7 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that, since we started mumbling this idea. And now, where are we at? Let's jump over to, were we looking at a currency again? Anybody care? Anybody want to see any particular currency? Let's see, Robin, what a move that hid in the bushes. Which one's that? Oh, the platinum one? Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, that's what happens when you have a website like here at Dukascopy where traders can talk ideas and no one's yelling at each other. It's like, oh, you're dumb. Oh, no, you're dumb. Instead it's like, well, what do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Instead we're exchanging ideas and questions, and we're all out there wondering, how do we make more money for ourselves? That's the name of the game. That's why we have option traders like Middle Age in here. We have currency traders like 47. We have newbies coming in like Lalua, Volnet. We have Robin in here. Robin and I put together have almost 100 years of experience, the two of us together. So, we kind of look at this as a trading pit where you're standing around and you're talking with other traders and they come up with some stupid ideas, but the next thing you know, the third idea they come up with is totally brilliant. But if you don't let them put out the stupid ideas, you never get to the brilliant ideas. You gotta have all the ideas laid out on the table. You have to throw them out there, let everybody look at them, say, I don't know, maybe this could happen, maybe it couldn't, I don't know, sounds a little crazy, And then, if you don't let the little crazy ideas get put out on the table, you'll never find the brilliant ones, the ones that are ingenious. And that's what it's all about. That's what I miss from the trading floor. I remember there were guys I would listen to and go, oh, God, he's saying it again. But then one day he says something that's like, oh, yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. And that's what it's all about here, traders. There are no stupid ideas. There are no stupid questions. They're just long answers or short answers to them. That's all it comes down to. And so when you think, oh, that doesn't make any sense, trust me, sooner or later it does make sense. Sometimes, it takes a while for it to get out and, let the whole concept, and that's what we're all about. That's what we are all about right there. We are into that. We want ideas, and we want, we say free people, free markets. We want people to, be able to put out ideas and not feel hindered about doing it. That's what it comes down to. All right, now let's jump over to let's see, where are we at? We did the two metals. Oh, we didn't do silver. Let's take a look at silver. There's silver there, breaking down today too. A little surprising. Robin and I keep on talking about it. It looks like it wants to do something, but it's stuck in that weekly sell. And let's take a look at it over on J4X. It's stuck in the weekly sell, and it just doesn't seem to. Can't get any legs into it. I don't know. It's just. And look at that chart. I mean, really, when you look at it on the the J4X Dukascopy chart, it's been trapped since here. And that nice spike there, what's this? This is daily, right? So, it had a good spike back in late January. We had that one day. You can see it right there. But, and then it just, but it's overall just trapped in this range here. Really, I mean, it really is. For like the last 2.5 months, it's just trapped in a range since it made the 5 or 8 year highs or whatever it was, So we're not seeing the action in silver as we would like to see. Let's see. Now let's drift over to copper. Copper is like on fire. Look at this. Oh wow! I didn't even look at it this morning. It was on fire yesterday. I mean, it's just moving. Weekly buy, that weekly, what a winner chicken dinner. My God. Went into the daily buy last week, closed in the weekly buy last week, and it has run from 360 up to almost 380. 378.65 is the high in just 4 days. There's an instant gratification if you ever got one. Yeah, this could go under the category of junk bonds at this point. In other words, there's no other place to go. They don't want to overpay in some stuff. They're afraid that metals are going to be pushed down, and they're thinking, well, maybe the copper will hold its ground. Well, it's obviously doing more than that. I guess they're thinking the Chinese, with Mr. Biden in the White House, the Chinese will be able to do their thing where they build skyscrapers again. When we were giving them like $400 and $500 billion a year in trade, they would build skyscrapers, 30, 40, 50 stories tall. And then they would leave them. They would be empty for like 3 or 4 years, even with people having problems of living places. And then they would knock it down and build a new one, just to increase jobs. And so maybe that's what they're anticipating, is that kind of strange stimulus. That's a Chinese stimulus program. You build a skyscraper, and then after 4 or 5 years you knock it down and then you build it again. Goes under President Roosevelt back in the 40s and the 30s, where he would pay people to dig holes and then pay them to put dirt back into those holes. Yeah, that's the only logic I can see there, that's for sure. All right, that's copper. Copper is zip, zam, and zowing it. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll take a look at the stock indices, unless someone has anything particular they'd like to look at. We'll jump over to that now. Let's check that out. Let's go right to, there's the NASDAQ. You can see it's firm and steady, holding up, bull market. Watch out. As much as we were getting ready to go into the weekly sell there yesterday, it's perked its little head up, and the histogram has gone plus again. And so that's showing life in it. Save that. And then let's take a look at the S&P 500 right there. Same situation. Firm again. Even with the green line trying to pierce the time manifold, that has also perked its head up. Just that starvation of yield at this point in time. Like even today, Coca-Cola came out with its earnings, and they were up like a cent or 2 cents, something like that. They need dividend, they need yield, they need something. With a world with 18 trillion now parked in losing trades. Can you imagine that? That's what it really comes down to. They're parked in losing trades where they lose money on it. 18 trillion. Boy, you got to wonder. 18 trillion, that's a really wild big number, and they're invested in loss. There's a lot of money managers going to have a hard time getting a job one day, that's for sure. When all this is all gone and straightened out, they're going to be like, who would in their right mind hire that guy? He was losing money for years. We're giving him 2 and 20. And here's the Dow. The Dow was actually going minus at one point yesterday, and now it's perked up again. Let's see if they hit it later this afternoon. Where is it at? Right there. So that is the action we're seeing when it comes to the stock indices. They are not letting them go. They are just they're rushing to anywhere they can go to get a yield, and that is basically the starvation of investment in the world. And at the same time, that's why you see the strength in say like the cable. Where's the cable again? Right there. You see that strength in the cable. They're trying to find somewhere that can give them some yield, because right now with 18 trillion losing money by just putting the position on, guaranteed loss, it sure does make decision making in the investment world a strange place. And you can see it here on J4X, acting extremely strong, finally breaking that 38 area we've been looking for. Boy, is it me or is it just quiet? I guess I don't know. All right, let's see. Traders, don't feel like you're interfering with me if you ask questions. Trust me, I'm just a rambler. I'm your classic floor guy that just has a motor mouth. That's all. My mouth just keeps on running. Sooner or later, a good idea pops out of it. And then let's take a look at ruble. Ruble's been showing some life in it. I've been happy about that. Doc always thinks that the ruble's undervalued. It should be down in the 40s as far as I'm concerned, like 48 or 49. You can see we're flirting with a weekly sell there too. Yeah, I think sooner or later that country, or that the Russian Federation, is going to get their act together, and it's going to be a very competitive. Right now, it's on the level of Texas. Yeah, I know. Isn't that something? So the Russian Federation equals to about Texas in equity, and so one day that's going to be. I think they've got an educated workforce. They've got incredible amounts of resources. Someday that's going to be a very expensive country, I think. I think they're going to be very profitable. I don't know when. It's going to take some time for them to get the laws in order. That's what it comes down to, is getting law and order organized for businesses to be able to grow. That's what the problem is right now. They're kind of static, and that's probably why, between the geopolitical, where Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama tried to overthrow the government there, and then the government went into the Crimea that type of thing. And the Russian Federation went into the Crimea, or quasi went into the Crimea. It kind of messed up things for their values because of the sanctions and all. But we always think that because of the amount of resources they have, they produce 10, 11 million barrels a day overall through the Russian Federation, and they have universities and they have educated workforce, and just natural resources besides the oil and minerals. I just have to believe that sooner or later this thing's going to be in the 40s. All right, let's jump over to where else do we go in this currency world. Let's look at yen. Yen went into a sell yesterday. I was caught my eye. Today it's perking up a little bit, but you can see we've been in a weekly buy for weeks, and that last buy was a really good one right there. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Wasn't bad on that one too. Just a little win, and then it kept you out of this whole mess to a great extent. Did that? Yeah, I guess that put you in a buy there, and then pushed you back into the next day, got you out, and you had a little loss out of that. Gave up some of your profits from there, but then it put you in a buy here for the whole ride. So that was a nice one there. The yen and the Bank of Japan has been doing some interesting things. They're starting to pay a yield on their bonds. They were minus for a long while now, and they're in debt like 250 to 1 or something like that. Well beyond anything we are here in the States. So there's always a big question mark of if you're starved and you're going to go find yield, you would you go to something like Japanese ink. I mean, that's pretty much what we always used to think of Japan as, Japanese ink. And now that you have China there, I'm not even sure if they yield. I honestly don't know what the yield is in the giant. I don't know if they have bonds. I'm sure they do, of course. But I mean, I never hear anybody talk about bonds in China. The whole financial system in China is a mystique. It really is. It's a very hidden, very confusing. Hard to get your assets out. The whole bit. It's very strange. The Chinese yuan only trades 2% in the world market today, which is really odd. If they're that big and powerful an economy, how do they only trade 2% in the world economy? So something's wrong there. There's math in the end is going to prove it, and that's proving it. In other words, you can hear them say, we have a yield of 7% GDP every quarter, or 11% or 9% or 6.5% or whatever. But if no one is trading their currency, then obviously something's wrong. I mean, that's where that's like the neighborhood. Everybody knows what's going on in the neighborhood in the end. And so if the world currencies are trading well beyond anything that the Chinese currency is doing, then something is wrong with the whole economic system there. And the information we receive is, something you got to scratch your head at and just say, okay, I think I won't. And then you hear how many companies can't get their assets out. They don't even own their assets to a great extent. I guess that's the worst part of it all, is that they're not allowed to get to their assets, because once you incorporate in China, it's hard to get any control of your company. They have a big slice of it. So that was a lot of the problems that we've seen go on, and it has been relatively confusing there. But anyway, that's the way that rolls, and that's what has my eye all the time, is in the Japanese market. At least it's more visible. It really is. It's much more visible. So now, let's check out. Let's see. What do we do here? Let's go over to. Let me see if anybody has any questions either. No questions. I don't see any questions, so just scroll that down. Nope, nothing there. All right, so let me just make sure I'm working. Let me see if I hear my voice. Yep, I hear my voice. Good. I just heard another ding from somewhere. Too many computers on, I guess. And so that is what we're spotting at the moment here. We're seeing this, action of the dollar going down, interest rates steady, junk bonds being bought, and the only thing that I can say, that is a good thing to watch is this one right here. the 30-year. Where's that 30-year? You try that again. The 30-year. There it is. And so keep an eye on the 30-year, a little bit longer-term rates, and see how that keeps on moving along here. Because to me, if we do see that thing take off into the 150s, it's at 166. That could put a lot of pressure onto the dollar side of the pairs trades. So far, it's not. It did in the beginning. 3 weeks ago when we started talking this, it did. But all of a sudden now, there's been a major switch. So we'll have to just, watch it and see. Follow the math, traders. Follow the math. That's usually what we do. That's the name of the game. And there's the 10-year. Let's just refresh that real quick here. There's the 10-year. You see it's doing a little flirtation on the downside here. Oh, look at that. That was neat. We shall see. Matter of fact, I guess we could throw a little line in there just as a warning like that. There we go. So that's the game when it comes to trying to understand where these pairs are going. Now, fundamentals are not exactly the best at the moment. That's what the problem has been. And so what we do is we follow it all through a quantitative mathematics. And not much of a choice, because the fundamentals have drifted so far away from reality that I guess when you have 18 trillion invested in loss instantly, the moment you put that position on, you've lost money. Boy, it's one thing to do it as a trader for yourself, for public citizen, that type of thing. But to do it as a money manager, you don't sleep well at night there, I'm sure. I am dead sure of that one. You're definitely not sleeping well. You might be saying, okay, at least I know I can get my $2 billion back or $1.5 billion back if I need it. But you're losing money, so every quarter you're showing a loss. So you got to find other places to go. And so we're starting to see, as I've been saying here, we're seeing the junk bond market start to really rise in price. So they're running away from the low or no yield to risky high yield. And I guess they just don't have a choice at this point. All right, what other things in the currency universe can we look at? Let's see. Aussie CAD. CAD yen. Let's see what the CAD yen looks like. Yesterday we were looking at Mexican peso. We were looking at that for a while. I couldn't figure out what that ISL is. That was the Israeli shekel, and we looked at the South African rand. And today, who is this? This is the Canadian yen. It's been in a buy from here. Daily buy from here, which has been okay. It's a winner chicken dinner. Canadian yen. Huh. Someone's got to trade it, I guess. They're a wealthy country. What else can we look at here? Let's take a look at that was the peso yesterday. If anybody wants to see any of these again, we can put them up there. I'm just looking to see some of these products we've not looked at. The Euro Swiss, we looked at that a couple days ago. GBP Swiss, I think we looked at that a couple days ago. Dollar Rand from South Africa. I think we looked at the Zloty. The Zloty is one of my favorites. It's a very stable currency, like the Israeli shekel, hanging around in that area and not letting go. It's pretty stable, trapped between 440 and 460. What's that, for 7 months now? That's pretty good. When you have a currency running that tight a market, makes it easy for businesses in that country to do business. I mean, small businesses are the things that really grow economies, not the giant ones, like the U.S. Steel or the British Aerospace or the Royal Dutch Shell. It's not those, or Siemens. They're good, and they run. They have enormous position, but the real growth comes from the little guy that creates a business that has 5 employees, and 5 years later, it has 500 employees, and that's the real jump. Because I mean Siemens might be employing 15,000 people, and next year they might be employing 14,997. So you're in essence it's losing 3 people, whereas a little company who started off with 1 or 2 people is now employing 500. They've picked up like 490 some odd people, which is a big thing. So that I mean it's nice that Siemens is employing 15,000 and it's hanging on that number, but in the end result is efficiency usually is a factor, and so they'll slowly try to figure ways to remove a person from a they retire and they don't replace them, and they find ways to use technology. I have a friend that's an electrical engineer. I guess he's a thermodynamic engineer combination at Siemens, and his job now he does the job of 3 people. He has the technology, and he works out of his basement most of the time. He's barely on the road, and he's got like almost like a T1 line running into his home, and he has this lab down in the basement, and he's like monitoring like the Holland Tunnel and and all these other weird things that Siemens does for whatever it is. And I mean he barely goes out on the road anymore, and he's doing the job of what 10 years ago what 3 engineers would have done. And so they reduced their staff and size through efficiency. All right, so what was that? That was, which currency were we looking at here? That was the Zloty. Very solid currency, very solid. And then let's see, anything else in the neighborhood here we should look at? Did we look at the euro yen? I bet we did. I don't remember what we thought about it. It was in the weekly buy. Where was it? I guess it goes in the weekly sell there. And there's the weekly sell there, and then it goes back into the buy the following week. Oh, it's always funny when it does that stuff. And then get into a daily buy here. Right there. Yeah, right there. On that close. I love it when it closes down and we have a green dot. God, I enjoy that. And then you can see it takes off. And it's a winner, winner, chicken dinner. Oh, it tries to go into a sell here, but we got a double dot. A red and a green. So you can't take that sell until the following day. And the following day is an up, so you can't take it. It's a green. If it was a red dot and down, you can take the short. And so, well, you couldn't because it's in a weekly buy anyway. But then, so that, you catch that move again, another winner, winner, chicken dinner. And now it's holding firm. Oh, look at that. Let's widen that a little bit. Does look like there's a little weakness going on in there. Nah, just on the edge. Just on the edge. Check out lumber. Okay. Where is lumber? Let's find lumber. Is it doing that rocket launch again? That lumber is funny like that, We'll throw it into where RoboGaz is. Let's see. I'm going to save that one. Oh, we'll do it right there. Where palladium is. What's the symbol in that lumber? Is it L something? Or is it... I forget. L? And that's H. Let's see what lumber is. L? Is that lumber? Yeah, that might be lumber. LE? No, that's live cattle. LB maybe? January 21. I think we have to add. So let's do this. Add a symbol. Futures. LB. Look up. And I guess we could look at March. Let's take a look at March. Close. We'll know when we put it in there. That's for sure. Okay, let's fix that. Setting. Local. No, that can't be it, right? 2000 something? What's this? What's the? Oh, It's not LB. Just look at that. It's at 2,357. I doubt that. Last time we looked at it was $700 a board foot, right? So LB. Let's see. What can be lumber? Lumber. What's the symbol for lumber? We'll throw it in there real fast to show everybody. Let me go to the CME real quick and see what it is. We have some time here. Let's see. Lumber futures. Lumber futures. Random left. That's it's a, it's an R, I think. That's what it is. Okay. Let's see. Come on, show us your symbol. Yeah, it's $947 a board foot now. I'm trying to find the exact symbol. It says random length, so it must be R something. I have no idea what I just put in there, but let's try that again. Oh no, that's platinum. Okay, palladium. Maybe. Let's see. Let's try this. Instrument. Let's try LB there. I thought I put LB in. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it is LB. Right there. There you go. So, let's see. Where we've been at. Let's move this up a little bit. Isn't that funny? The old lines match up from the new lines, I guess. Let's see. Went into a sell there. No, it didn't. It went into the sell right here. Went back into the buy right there. Easily peasily. Went into a daily buy there. And it's been in a daily buy through it all, right? Maybe right there. No. Let's widen that. No, wide. So did the green line go minus? It did, it looks like to me. Green is plot 1. Okay, but we're in a weekly buy, so you can't take the short there. And then it goes back into the buy here again. Let's grab one of these greens. So it goes back into the buy right there. So it went into the buy. Let's get rid of that sell. Not sure if there was a sell there. And so we can get, I guess, was the buy there? No, buy wasn't there. So we move that over too. So the sell was right here. No, wait a minute. The sell was back here. The sell was, oh, okay, we move that over. So the sell was back here, right there. So it went into the sell there. Move that out of the way like so. And then it went into the buy right here. So yeah, that's pretty consistent. And then there's a buy right there. Right there, there's the buy for that little pop. And we were in a weekly buy there too, so that's pretty cool. I guess we can move this out of the way too. And let's scrunch that up a little bit. So it went into the buy here. And then we can take some of these, move them over. So where did it go into the buy? Right there. So there it is right there. So it goes into the buy there. Does that go into a minus? No. So it stays in a buy all the way to there. So we can move that over to here. Oop. And there's our sell. Interesting. LE is long as a live cattle. Yeah, to the moon. Alice is right. Look at it. It's been consistent though. Look at that. Goes into a daily buy here with the weekly buy and doesn't go into a sell until here. And then it goes back into the buy right there. We can grab this one and move it over now. So there's another winner chicken dinner. And then it goes into a sell here. So we can take that red and move it over. And then it goes back into the buy there. There you go, traders. That one there on the close of that bar. Obviously, you're not short for any of this because you're in a weekly buy. Then it gives you the warning, it goes into the sell here. That's why we're using 3 5s on both. It smooths it out much better. Catches all that. But, keeps you out of the long, so you've made your profits up in here from this move, and you're just sitting watching it, doing nothing. Remember, traders, we believe that you're long or short or neutral. There are the 3 major positions you can be in. You can be long, you can be short, or you can be neutral. And so in this case here, then it goes back into the buy here. I think it's one over. I think it's right there. It's that one right there. You go into the buy there, and you're still in a weekly sell, but the line's through, so you can play it on a short term. By the next day, because it's closing a weekly buy, you can be long, and it catches another rocket shot from 800 to 947. If middle age you around, you might want to pay attention. You know what? You might want to pay attention to lumber. This thing is smooth. That's smooth. All right, traders, we're out of here. We stuck around. It's a little later than usual, but that's all right. Happy trails to you until we meet again tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends.